Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and today I am reading my most anticipated book of the year. Just wanted to give a quick little spoiler warning. I tried to make this spoiler free, but I'm just so passionate about this book and the series that I couldn't do it. So here's your warning: spoilers for the first 3 books in the A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, and spoilers for this first book in the Fragile Threads of Power series. They're all interconnected, and thus I spoiled them all. So if my excitement didn't clue you in, V.E. Schwab is one of my favorite authors, but not only that, the A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy is one of my favorite trilogies of all time, probably my most reread trilogy at this point in my adulthood. And I just recently reread the trilogy. You will see that in my September wrap up because I read the last 2 books more closer to the release date of this one. This one came out September 26th. So if you don't have it and you didn't buy it, go out right now and support my queen. But if you couldn't tell, I've already read this book. I'm becoming really good with vlogs and being a booktuber. I don't feel like I could really talk about this specific book in a spoiler-free summary, but I can talk about the A Darker Shade of Magic series. This is a book series that takes place in London, not of our own. There are 4 different Londons that are all parallel, like doors, front to back from each other. There is Black London, where magic started and was ruined. So the land of Black London is completely desolate. We have White London. They were the closest to Black London when this happened. So they are extremely powerful magicians, but magic is taking a toll on them and their land is slowly perishing as well. We have Grey London. This is the most similar to our London. There is no magic, or there is, but it's like hints of it. It exists as like a fairy tale fantasy type of thing. And then we have Red London. Red London is where magic is thriving. And this is where we have our magician named Kel. Kel is an Antari, and what this means is that he's able to control 4 different elements of magic. And with that, he is able to travel through the different doors into different Londons. Unfortunately for him, he's developed a bad habit of collecting different things from different Londons and transferring them to the other Londons. One day he finds a relic of Black London, and that trilogy takes off from there. As you could tell, I absolutely love this series. So obviously I was eagerly anticipating entering this one. I didn't tab it because I don't like to tab books on my first read, but I regret it a little bit in retrospect. So this takes place 7 years after the last book in the A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, and we have all our favorite characters, and we follow 2 new characters, and that's it. Let's go. Let's start the vlog. Hello, so I wanted to give an update because yesterday I did get 100 pages into the Fragile Threads of Power, and you haven't seen me since then. I wanted to give an update earlier in the day, but the day just got away from me. And you know when you have to do something, so you're like constantly putting it off? That was me today. It's not for lack of not enjoying this book, because I absolutely am. Right now, 100 pages in, we've just got some pretty key POVs from 2 new characters that we're dealing with in here. One is named Tess, who seems to be some sort of like magical trinket fixer, and she hasn't come back yet, but
immediately within her first chapter, I absolutely adored her character. She seems to be someone that's really interesting. She's a 15-year-old girl who is running a magical drinking shop alone, and she seems to be like Alucard, who is able to see the threads woven into each individual piece of magic. This is something that we saw in the first trilogy, and we learned that Alucard is able to do this, and this is why Alucard understands other people's strengths and weaknesses, and why he knows that Lila, Holland, and Kel are Antari, because they show different threads of magic. This is really crucial to Alucard's character in the first trilogy. Again, Alucard's character in this, what I'm assuming will be a trilogy, and this new character, Tess. I don't know if she will have a more important role as we move forward, because we've only seen her one time. Then we move into what I believe is this character who doesn't go by a name. His name is the Merchant Son. This specific character is part of a group of people called the Hand, and they are sort of a conspiracy theory group, and they essentially want Rice to come down from the throne.
Did I just call Rye Rice? Is this a Court of Mist and Fury? I don't think so. Who am I?
Because ever since he has taken over the throne, as we saw in the last trilogy 7 years ago, many more children are being born without power. And because Rice doesn't have power, people believe, or these conspirators believe, that it is because of Rice not having power that these children are being born without power. So essentially, Alucard is another POV. He is investigating this cult, this conspiracy theory group, in order to figure out if they're a viable threat to the crown. So he specifically is meeting this woman named Sarah, and she runs a brothel. And obviously, as we've seen in many fantasy stories, brothels tend to be areas where information can be exchanged, often because these men are sharing this information with the women who work at the brothel without really understanding consequences. But alas, Sierra says she has no idea what's going on with that, and she would know because she knows everything that's going on in the brothel. But what we do find out is that Sierra meets with this man called the Veil, and she admits to the Master of the Veil essentially that she does know about this group called the Hand and what they are kind of banking on in order to take down the crown. And she's saying that if you want to use my girls at your parties, at your discussions, and this and that, you're gonna have to pay me more because I am keeping this secret from the crown. Then we move into the merchant again, and we are back at the floating market, and there is something there of interest to the merchant and his group called the Hand, and they are essentially looking for something like that. They attack, but they are unable to successfully gather what they wanted. We then move into a couple of POV chapters from Lila and Kel. We really learn about what happened in the last 7 years, specifically with Kel's power. As we know from the last trilogy, every time he uses his power, at least from then until now, he is in a lot of pain because his power was kind of split into Holland when they were locking the Black King into this like device that can essentially keep him in there forever, hopefully. And while they are on this quest, they are also traveling different parts of the world. And this is the aspect that I think I will find the most fascinating about this series, because I really love V.E. Schwab's like world building when it came to 3 kingdoms that appeared in the last trilogy, one of them being Arnis, London, that we know of in this series. Now we seem to be traveling more south, and I feel like this is a South Pole type of community that they've come across. And it really reminds me of like Frozen, the Disney movie. So we're gonna see where that goes. And then our final POV chapter is one that opens up the novel in a prologue of 7 years previous to this series. So immediately after the events that transpired at the end, and Holland is found resting in the forest by a young girl named Kosika. And Kosika was believing in the magic and seeing her world grow and getting color again and really coming into magic. And she is the one that essentially finds Holland dead in the forest. Pretty sad scene, because if you know anything about me, you know that I love Holland. So it was brutal to be back in that scene again, especially because I just finished reading A Conjuring of Light like 3 days ago. So I am now on page 98, and I plan to make my way into it a bit more and then come and update you. But I'm loving this. I'm very, very, very excited that it's in my hands. I can't believe we have a new addition to the A Darker Shade of Magic series. I think I'm going to be saying that a lot. Oh, a lot of people also asked me like what the Indigo exclusive edition meant. I have no idea. You tell me if your hardcovers look like this. Do you have this inside? And then there's like kind of a poster, but it's just of the cover. I don't know if that's what it means. It's the only option I was able to buy at Indigo. So you tell me if it's anything special. But yeah, so I will go continue reading this and probably update you tomorrow maybe, or potentially Friday. We shall see. Hello, so I just came back. It's a new day, by the way, but I just came back from the gym and I put a hair mask in because I'm gonna go shower after. And while I wait for this hair mask to do its thing, I'm going to continue reading The Fragile Threads of Power. Where is it? So yesterday I got to the 260 page mark about, and obviously I'm loving this. I don't feel like, if you know me at all, you know that I absolutely love this series. I've read the original trilogy 3 times. Like, I just love it so much. And in this book, like, we are getting new characters, but we're still with the characters that we love, which I really appreciate, but they are a lot older now. So Rai and Alucard are like in a triangular marriage and they have a child, and it's just so cute. And at first I was like, what the heck? But it was really like adorable. And at the beginning of the book, Kel and Lila are like traveling the world as was intended and implied by the end of Conjuring of Light. And now they're coming back because there is this political group called the Hand that are trying to assassinate Rai. And obviously they're coming back. They need to investigate. There's a lot of like dark magic going in that we're learning from the perspective of the merchant's son that I had mentioned in the previous clip. And it's just very, very interesting how the thread magic that Alucard had and was introduced to us in the first trilogy is explained a bit more in this book, because the character of Tess also experiences this type of magic. And it's so fascinating how it's being developed, and it's really interesting to me that V.E. Schwab is still able to expand on this already expansive world and this already interesting magic system. And it's just being expanded upon in ways that I really, really appreciate and love. So I want to read a lot today. So I will be turning on some reading sprints that I have in my Watch Later playlist and just cracking down on getting through this, because I kind of want to finish this at least tomorrow, which is the last day of September. And I would really like to have this done so that I could put up this vlog in like a timely manner after the release, and get this out for everybody, even though I think we all know how I'm gonna rate this, but you know, let's keep the mystery alive for now. Okay, so I'm about to go take a shower, but I wanted to talk about how I've gotten to page 300 and something, specifically that we had an entire section, an entire part about Kosika. And Kosika is the character that found Holland dead. And now we learn that she developed Antari magic after Holland died and followed in his footsteps for ritualistic purposes and became the queen of White London. And I think that that's so interesting. I have a real like fascination or appreciation of blood magic, and it was really interesting to see this now develop in White London. White London was always like sketchy with their magic and what they valued as a society. And now that Holland died, I think it solidifies this blood magic, as Antari use blood to do magic. Whereas other magicians, as we see in Red London, for example, don't necessarily need to use their blood in order to perform spells. So I think that that's really fascinating, and Kosika is really using that and created an entire sort of religion around Holland, which I obviously love because I love Holland, and treating him like a saint that they offer tithes to. And so this entire section was learning about how Kosika came into power, how they kind of rectified Holland's death and turned him into this saint. And it's based on Kosika being brought up by the Veers, and the Veers were Holland's knights. So they obviously have a love for Holland and then instilled that in her. And so Holland has become this saint-like figure in this world. And the tithes that they offer to him are the blood of everyone in White London. So I think that this is really fucking fascinating and interesting, and I'm very excited to see Kosika's character develop, and I'm excited to see, like, does she become evil? What happens? I'm very interested in that. I'm not 100% sure if with Kel traveling with Lila, if Kel has visited White London in the last 7 years, and does Kosika know that there is another Antari? Does Kosaka know about what happened? She's been told the story of Holland, but she doesn't know why Holland died that day in the Silverwood and became the saint. At least right now. At least right now we don't know that she understands that. So that whole section was so fascinating, so perfect to like get my reading started for the day, because it really made me fascinated with the book. So I'll definitely go take a shower now, wash out the hair mask, and then come back and immediately dive right in. Page 358. I need to know more. I need to. Hello, so it is now Saturday and I've just been like lazing around reading this a little bit, and I got to page 436. So it's a new part. It's part 9, the threads that bind. But we just got done a full section or part in the book that was specifically about Tess, and you learn Tess's background and why she's so fearful of her power, of her like magical skill, and the family that she comes from and why she is scared of her sister. We learn at the beginning of the book that she's scared her sister will come find her. We learn in this section specifically why she ran away, why this happened, and why she's hiding. Tess is another interesting character. I find that while I'm obviously still loving the chapters that come from Alucard by Kel and Lila, I am very much enjoying the perspectives of Kosaka and Tess, because I find that they are very similar to the characters that we love, and they have similar motivations and personalities in a way of their respective counterparts, right? So Kosaka she reminds me a lot of someone who would come from White London. She has aspects of Astrid Dane from the first book and aspects of Holland, obviously, like really believing in the city and wanting to do what we can to bring back magic in White London, obviously. And then Tess is very similar to Lila and Kelly. I think that noble, wanting to help people and knowing right from wrong and having these morals in a sense, but also being somewhat of a little criminal is very similar to Lila and Kel, but also having the ability to see threads of magic throughout the city and in everything that she looks at and fixes is very similar of Alucard, right? So I find these two characters are really fitting into what we already know and have pre-established of the Darker Shade of Magic world, and adding something new through their perspectives and how they are kind of being twisty-turny with what we already know of the world. In regards to the plot, Tess has fixed the magical thing that the hand needs in order to kill Rai, and now she is running away. And what we learn is that through Tess fixing it but not having a key to another door has allowed her to kind of use this door to go into other worlds like Antari. So she visited Black London, and what we saw was a woman in Black London, which is really wild because, as we know, Black London is a desolate place and we thought there was nothing living there besides Osiron. And now Tess has opened the door randomly into Grey London, and she tumbles into Ned Tuttle's bar, and Ned Tuttle's making an appearance again from the first series. I love his character. He just believes in magic. Through Tess tumbling through the door, she points out that Ned does have a thread around him. It's not as strong, but Ned's belief in magic is real. He does have a little bit of magic within him. So I thought that was really cute. And I think we're going to really expand on Grey London's magic through Tess, which I think is really interesting. So I'm going to continue reading. I probably will not update until tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to finish the book today, but I'm definitely going to get close to the end, and then I'm going out for supper with my sisters later, and then tomorrow I'll probably finish this up and report back. So hello. So I had quite a busy Sunday today. Ended up taking a chill. I spent most of the day finishing Pet Cemetery, which is my Professor Kelsey's book club for the month of September, because it is October 1st today. So I really wanted to get this done because we have the live show this week. But I won't spend too much time talking about it, but I was listening to this. Then I went to the gym. I went grocery shopping. I went to Starbucks because, despite previously saying I don't like pumpkin spice lattes, I learned that I do like the cold brew coffee with pumpkin cold foam. I learned that that's something that I like. So I went to go get that today. And then when I came back home, I just honestly made supper, chilled. So right now it's 9 o'clock. My boyfriend is probably just starting his hockey game right now. So I do have a couple of hours before he comes home. Despite the fact that I have to wake up early to go to work tomorrow, I will be continuing with the Fragile Threads of Power. I have about 145 pages left, so I'm definitely going to be able to finish this tonight unless I fall asleep. But I do have some of my cold brew coffee left, so I might drink that. I am Italian, so I am very, very used to having espresso at like 10 o'clock. So I don't think it'll bother me. If anything, it'll just keep me awake until my boyfriend gets home. Then I can take some melatonin or some other herbal medicine, and then we'll go to bed. But hopefully I finish it in the next couple of hours. So, okay, so there is one more chapter left in the book. Sorry if you can hear the outside. It's just hot and I don't feel like turning the air conditioner on. But if I know anything about Miss Schwab, is that there's always something crazy revealed in the last chapter, and I want to read it together. I need to think about this, but we'll reconvene tomorrow. Welcome back to the end of the vlog, and this is where I'm here to tell you that obviously I absolutely adored this book. I don't think it's any surprise at all that I gave this 5 stars, and I don't even know how to wrap up this vlog without getting into like major spoilers of why I really enjoyed this book. I think it goes without saying that V.E. Schwab has just a way with words that I obviously absolutely adore, and the way that she's able to expand the magic system in this book from what was in the first trilogy, and we're so accustomed and we know that magic system so well, we know that world so well, and the fact that she's able to expand on that I think was really amazing. As mentioned, the 2 new characters were 2 characters that I absolutely adored, and I hope that we see more of them in the upcoming rest of the series, whatever this becomes, if it's a trilogy, I don't know. And I really liked how she utilized these 2 new characters to expand on the world, and I hope that by following them we're able to see more of the different magic systems and of the different aspects of the world. Obviously, I loved being back in with our OG characters. They changed a bit in the 7 years, and you can definitely tell that, and I appreciate that V.E. Schwab took that risk, because I think some elements of this book, and I won't get into details again, come as kind of like off-putting, especially given that I had just reread this series. So I was very one with the characters. And to go back in here, they are similar, but you can definitely tell that over the last 7 years, in between the 2 series, they have grown and they are somewhat different people while still holding on to the elements of these characters that we enjoy. Like I said, I also really love that the magic system is expanded in here. So where the A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy really dives into the Antari magic and into the magic that Lila Holland and Kel utilize, this book is really diving into the different magic systems, expanding on the Antari in a very interesting way with the character of Kosaka, but with Tess and Alucard and the threads magic that they are able to see. In the first trilogy, Alucard is the only one that we know is able to do that. But here we see another character doing that and expanding on that, doing something that Alucard cannot do. And Alucard is one of the greatest magicians in Arnis. So I think that that was really amazing. And it just makes me so excited for the future of this series and the future of V. Schwab's expansion of the world. I don't think it's a surprise. I give this 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I don't know what else to say. It was brilliant. It was fantastic. It was amazing. It was show-stopping. That entire Lady Gaga gif.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever been done before.
I loved that. I loved it. And that's all I think I need to say. So if you've read this book, please let me know down below. Did you like it? If you hated it, I don't want to know, actually. So just tell me down below if you loved it. If you hated it, don't talk to me. But if you would like to follow me on any of my other social medias, I do leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. But of course, because it is the end of the video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. It does wonders for my channel. It makes me feel really good. And that's it. I never know how to end these things, so I will see you next time. Okay, bye!